For our top international story this hour, we're monitoring the latest news regarding allegations of Russian meddling in UK politics. This week, the Digital Culture, Media and Sport Committee in the House of Commons released a report declaring that no evidence has been found to successfully support the claim that Russia has interfered in the UK's democratic processes. The report reads, quote, "We want to reiterate the government has not seen evidence of successful use of disinformation by foreign actors, including Russia, to influence UK democratic processes." It goes on to say, quote, "We note that the Mueller inquiry into Russian interference in the United States is ongoing. It would be wrong for Robert Mueller's investigation to take the lead about related issues in the UK." The report comes just weeks after Deputy Labour Party leader Tom Watson called for a, quote, Mueller-style public inquiry into claims of Russian interference in Britain. Earlier this month, UK Foreign Secretary Jeremy Hunt accused Russia of festering instability throughout the world.
The Russian government needs to know that if they flout international law in this way, there will be consequences, they will be exposed, and people will see the Russian government for what they are, which is an organisation that is trying to fester instability throughout the world, and that is totally unacceptable.
With Russian meddling in question, we turn to former UK MP George Galloway for his analysis. All right, George, will this report put an end to the hyperbolic rhetoric we're hearing from, for example, Secretary Hunt and Watson that I just described there, accusing Russia of undermining UK's democracy?
Well, Johnny English always likes to blame Johnny Foreigner when something goes wrong. In this case, the proximate thing that went wrong was that the ruling elite lost the EU referendum, despite pouring uncountable amounts of money and prestige into the campaign. The public voted with their feet against them. They couldn't accept that, so it was a look over there tactic to blame Johnny Foreigner, in this case Boris Foreigner, the handy whipping boy, Russia. And this inquiry has just established yet again, this was all bunkum. There was nothing at all in it, but it served the purpose of muddying the water, obfuscating the issues, and planting seeds of suspicion in people's minds that we'd somehow been the victim of foreign perfidy. All your American viewers will be recognizing this, because that's exactly what happened in the United States when the ruling elite lost the presidency to Donald Trump a couple of years ago. It couldn't be because Hillary Clinton was chosen as the Democratic Party candidate, the only candidate in the whole country who could have lost to Donald Trump. Well, the same thing happened here over Brexit. They trotted out all the old statesmen. They poured unlimited money and media power into the campaign to stop Brexit, but they failed. They can't accept it.
This report also takes on the issue of fake news, pointing out that it's bandied around with no clear idea of what it means or agreed definition. And that's a quote from the report, though it says while people in the government should refrain from using the term, that the government should put forward an agreed definition of the words misinformation and disinformation. Is that a fair solution to you?
Well, of course, what they're really protesting about is that they've lost control of the news. Once upon a time, the oligarchy behind me and a few media moguls could determine what was the news and what was the perspective to be taken about the news. They've now completely lost control of that, both because of the rise of RT, for example, which now has 100 million viewers a week across the world. They've lost control of it because of the rise of social media and alternative news sites and analysis points all over the globe. So it's not so much fake news they fear, it's free news. It's the ability of free people with brains to search out alternative takes on the prevailing orthodoxy. So whatever definition they come up with as to what misinformation, disinformation means, unless it is an approximation of what they have themselves been enjoying for decades, that too will be fake news.
We don't have much time left, but if you could very briefly talk about this, because in the U.S., we hear constant accusations that Russia's also undermining our system, as you just said. But we here on In Question have talked about how other issues, like, for example, the GOP's effort to remove minorities from the voter rolls, is actually a much more dangerous issue. Are there any threats to the UK system which you see as overlooked by the mainstream media?
Well, forgive me for mentioning it, but Israel was caught red-handed by Al Jazeera on tape interfering in British electoral processes, in British politics, and nothing happened. And there is a film extant about the same lobby operating in the United States, so far not widely viewed. So it's Israel that was caught red-handed interfering in British politics. Russia, it turns out, didn't interfere at all.
And instead of that report coming out here in the United States, Al Jazeera actually opted to censor it completely. So we don't even know the full extent of the information they documented with that undercover report. But yes, you raise a good question there about what we know about the UK. Former UK MP George Galloway, thanks so much.
Hey YouTube, thanks for checking out our channel. We hope you enjoyed the video. We have tons of content for you just like this. For more of RT America's one-of-a-kind news and analysis, be sure to subscribe and never stop questioning more.